nickel 9. Yeah. 5-9J. Let me speak my mind up. It's just me keeping it real. Keeping it 100. Let's go. Yeah.
Hey, yo, what's good with everybody, man? I hope everybody's having a productive day, feeling blessed. Like I always say, it's one life, one chance. We only got one chance to do this right. Let's get it done. With that being said, man, forgive the studio. Still recording. I still got to do some videos for you guys. It's my obligations, man, so I'm here. I'm still decorating the house, so you might hear a little echo. All I'm waiting for is for my brand new couches, everything on the walls, and we should be fine. So forgive me for the echo. Get into this video. Now, somebody asked me a question, right? And I could have sworn I already answered it, but maybe I did in a different sense, but I'm going to answer it this way. So they asked, how do the blacks tolerate the SNY gangs on the SNY yards? And I was like, bro, that's a simple answer. I mean, I'm going to get in depth, but it's a simple answer. They just do. And that's the thing, right? From my perspective, from 2000, maybe 12 up until 2020 when I paroled, yes, we did get into some altercations with the blacks, but there's been a lot of occasions where a lot of the Mexican gangs, a lot of the SNY gangs that are Mexican based have taken the initiative or have made the approach of kicking it off with blacks. Doesn't happen all the time, very, very rare occasions, but when it does, it goes up. Racial segregation, and I mean, you know what's crazy is there's a mentality where everybody says they're not racist in prison. But that whole policy where if the blacks and the Mexicans go at it, all Mexicans have to jump, it's an unwritten rule that's circulated. Now, I'm telling you, this is from Kern Valley's experience and Tehachapi's experiences, the only two experiences that I'm going to talk about. So when we had to kick it off, you know, as Northern Riders, the politics and the policies were simple. Snoop always said, if it ain't our business, don't get involved. But that man got involved in everybody's business, bro, when I tell you that. And then we'd have to be right there like, are we jumping? Are we gonna get off? Well, let us know, fool, get off. If Snoop said it was our business, it was our business. When it came to other ethnicities or other group segments, if he made it his business, it was our business. And we couldn't question it, we couldn't say nothing, we'd just be right there like, oh, are we jumping? We getting off? Everyone listen, we're kicking off, bro, we ready. You know, we did a lot to impress that man. But when he wasn't around on the yard, the rider policies would always come up like, hey, bro, the 2-5ers are gonna go at it with the blacks, bro, what do we do? When it came to the 2-5ers, Northern Rider politics was simple. Hey, bro, that ain't our business, bro. More likely the 2-5ers burnt the blacks and the blacks are fed up and the blacks are going to give them the blues, give them the business. Forget that. But the Zapatistas weren't really known at the time for burning people or doing people wrong. So if they got into an altercation with the blacks, they'd usually just come up and they knew our policies. They knew like, these fools ain't going to get down. And that's what made us look like cowards for a very long time. I didn't like it. Because I was like, bro, I'll get down with whoever. I'll jump in for whoever. I'll kick off a ride with whoever. I don't give a damn. But the Zapatistas was always like, hey, bro, just so you know, it might kick off with us and the blacks, just giving our heads up. They would just do that. They wouldn't ask us for assistance, you know, ask us if we're going to participate, ask us if they're even low in numbers. If there's 4 of them against 20 blacks, they're like, all right, we're going to go all 4 bangers and, you know, we're just giving you a heads up. But let the circumstances change. This was crazy. When we got into it with the blacks, the Zapatistas are right there. It kicked off in Tehachapi with us and the blacks, pretty bad. And the first round, it was even. The second round, the blacks demolished us on the yard, bad. I mean, when I say bad, I mean embarrassed us, bro. Made us look like we couldn't fight, made us look like we had no mittens, they knocked down a homie that had one leg and just like kicked his leg like, blood in and blood out on Miklo. It was bad, bro. It was a boxer from Fresno. They knocked his leg off. He had an amputated leg. They gave us the blues. But even then, the Zapatistas walked to our table deep, like 8 deep, all with damn near samurai swords, 47 Ronin, bro. For real, what I mean by 47 Ronin, these dudes had ice picks like that long, samurai swords, jujitsu swords, whatever, katanas. And they're like, hey, fool, we're right here if you want us to assist. Hey, bro, if you guys get overwhelmed, we're gonna jump in. We're just letting y'all know. Their policies was straight across the board. If any group segment gets into it with the blacks, they're coming in heavy with heavy equipment. And they gave everybody a heads up because that was their policy. They defend raza. They defend the Mexican culture. They defended brown. They're not going to see brown get overwhelmed by whites or blacks or Asians or others. That was just their belief system. We had to respect that. What made it awkward is say if me and like 3 Northern Riders came out to yard, none of us have bangers, but we're going to get down with like 10 blacks. Of course, all 4 of us are going to be like, damn, bro, we might get the business, bro. These dudes are like 6'5", all basketball players, all NBA draft picks. You know, yeah, we got to do what we got to do. We got to defend ourselves. Now, the Zapatistas see that and be like, nah, we just can't let Arraza get beat up like that, bro. Charles. They'll literally jump in with weapons, start blasting blacks, and all of us are going down for it. As long as a Mexican stabs a black and we're all in the same riot, we're all looking at attempted murder cases. So, you know, as Northern Riders, that's why Northern Riders, for one, they said they didn't want to get involved because other group segments would risk that when they jumped in. You might catch a case with them. A 2-5er might jump in, see you getting jumped by 3 black dudes and you're by yourself. He might jump in and slice one. Hey, you got an attempted murder. All it looks like is 2 Mexicans rushing 3 blacks and the blacks got cut with razor blades. You got an attempted murder case. You got assault with a deadly weapon case. Now you're in the hole like, hey, bro, I didn't ask you to jump in. I didn't ask you to use a weapon. I didn't even ask you to mind your business. I didn't tell you to be all about my business. You know, you should have mind your own business. It's too late, bro. DA is right there like, hell yeah, bro. It's an easy 7 years. That's how the Zapatistas work. But on the same token, I've seen a lot of, should I say, bulliness and abusiveness, in which when I joined the Northern Rider movement, it was based on anti-bullying. So on the anti-bullying concept, I was taught, and that's why I got into a lot of altercations in my first 3 years, that if I see anything that has to do with like bullying mentality or a bullying situation, and I have a right to stand up and defend that, as long as it's justifiable and risk my movement and risk my brothers jumping in. Throughout the years, it became, hey, that's none of our business. That's none of our business. That's none of our business. Even when it was righteous reasons, like, hey, bro, the homie's getting bullied. Hey, man, that dude's getting punked for his TV, bro. That fool just got punked and slapped on the yard for some suits, bro. Like, what are we doing? I thought we were an anti-bullying movement. We're supposed to be standing up to this. Throughout the years, Snoop was like, it ain't our business. It ain't our business. So the Zapatistas looked at us like we were cowards. They wouldn't tell us that, but I knew that because I was close to a lot of them. They always looked at it like these fools are always quick to, you know, want to jump somebody. But when it comes down to race and when it comes down to defending one another for bigger issues, they're always on mind their own business. So for years, a lot of the SNY groups treated Northern Riders like, okay, you guys are your own people. Whatever happens to you, okay, if you get jumped by a busload of transsexuals, bro, get the blues, bro. Embarrass yourself. We're not going to defend you guys because you guys never want to jump in. It's because oftentimes we didn't want to jump in for other people's drug debts. But I promise you this, when our issues were small and they became big issues, you know, I can see the homies are like, bro, we could, you know, should we ask them? Should we ask them? Should we get some help? And then at the end, it's like, bro, they asked us for help and we didn't help them. So why would they help us? And it just left us in that little small bind where, you know, we couldn't rely on nobody, but nobody could rely on us. You know, I don't know if it was a good thing or a bad thing, but a lot of people, I could tell, looked at us like it was a cowardice thing. So on the SNY, you know, the blacks and the Mexicans, you know, they go at it every once in a while. Non-affiliates go at it once in a while with the blacks. Mostly it's over drug debts, politics, different forms of disrespect. But in reality, like I said, I've only seen a black gang one time, and that was Flight Squad. And then Flight Squad fought the Crip car from Los Angeles, got the business, got the blues, and they went to war. So for about a good 8 months, we just seen blacks fighting blacks. We didn't think much of it. We knew what the politics were behind. We knew it was over dope. We knew it was over drug deals. We knew it was over people burning each other. And we just sit back and watch the show. But most of the time, blacks on the SNYs, and I'm only speaking on the level 4s that I've been on. I can't speak on all the level 3s and level 2s. I can't speak on none of that. Only on the level 4s that I was on. The respect level was up there because they knew this was their mentality. And this is just my perspective of what the blacks' mentality was. They knew, you know, the Mexicans were with the business. They knew if they got into it and it escalated, there's going to be a bunch of Mexicans jumping that they don't even know who they are. They're just going to come from out of nowhere, out of the bushes. Sometimes they exercise a lot of preventative measures to make sure that didn't happen, right? But don't get it twisted. I've seen blacks knock out Mexicans left and right, and then it cause, you know, bigger issues. Sometimes the blacks will handle their own. Sometimes the blacks will be like, do what you guys got to do. He don't rock with us. It's only because, you know, you're going to gravitate towards certain people from certain regions, certain areas, and you guys become a close circle. Do expect that if you're black and you're rocking with a couple of fellas, that's your close circle. They're gonna jump just like if they were an STG group. No difference. The only problem is, the biggest difference I've seen is mentality is simple. It's blacks did whatever they wanted, but they were able to program peacefully. Every once in a while, they had altercations amongst themselves, altercations with other groups. But my perspective was always simple. They did what they wanted to do. They went about their program. So I'm going to give you an example of something. Yes, there was riots here and there. Yes, there was. I seen a couple situations where black knocks down Mexicans, especially a couple Mexicans that were in these STG gangs, and then things escalated. But not all blacks got involved because a lot of blacks were like, that ain't my business. That dude knocked out that Mexican. He can deal with that problem. Whatever their problem was, I ain't going to make it my problem. Smartest move you can make on the SNY, that's not my problem. And stay out of trouble. I had a homie from Rolling 60s. We used to call him Rose. That was his nickname. That's not his actual nickname, but he was from Rolling 60s. He was a Crip. This is a prime example of the vast majority of the black mentality on the SNY's where I was at. He stuck to himself. Earned his degrees, earned his diplomas, went to school, went to college. When he was on the yard, he talked to a minimum of 3 different black dudes. That was it, just 3. Oftentimes, you would see that man walking by himself, shooting some hoop, playing some handball games. But when it kicked off, you wouldn't see him where the blacks were at, because the blacks had their own areas. And, obviously the blacks politicked on each other. They had their internal beefs, set tripping, gangbanging on each other. If it kicked off, you'll never see him in that black area. Even if it didn't kick off, you wouldn't see that man in that black area. You would always see him just minding his own business. That man used to be above me in the van. We used to talk all the time, me, him, and my celly. My celly was from Hanford. No, he was from Kings County. He wasn't from Hanford. And that dude would go to family visits. It was either every other month or every 3 months. He made his money. He had been under investigation for a while, but they didn't catch him or nothing. Dude paid for his wife's BBL. And I seen pictures of it. The body was perfect. Model material. Every 3 months, that fool was gone for a weekend. And I mean that for like a year and a half. I used to hear about this dude going to visits all the time, coming back, his boneyard visits, having a great time. He didn't jeopardize nothing and didn't let prison politics on the yard jeopardize what he had going on. He's coming home soon. He was a lifer, got his date. Now he has an opportunity to come home. He's literally going to visit every other month or every couple of months, or I'm pretty sure it was more frequent than every 3 months. I just don't know precisely. And he was gone the whole weekend, going like 8 or 9 rounds with a woman that he made money off the yard of, built her body, the body that he wanted, and having a great time. Stuff that we should have been all striving for on the SNY, but we're too busy wanting to poke each other over 50 papers and little smears of booger on the yard. He's over there clapping cheeks. We're all in jail wanting to ride a girl, wanting to be with a girl, can't wait to parole to a girl, can't wait to do this with a girl, can't wait to buy a girl Applebee's and whatever the hell that we were thinking about, all these war stories about women. But when we went on that yard, we forgot about the concept of freedom. We forgot about the idea of being with a woman again or being with our families. Too busy stabbing each other over, I'm a rider, I'm a Zapatista, I'm a 2-5er, I'm an independent rider, I'm this, I'm a green lighter. When drugs hit the yard, we forgot about everything. See, the blacks didn't really indulge in drugs. The blacks didn't really want to be in the black market with drugs like that. They weren't always pushing dope like that. It was always Mexicans trying to be the biggest drug dealers, the biggest kingpins, and then we were stabbing each other for it. The blacks stood away from a lot of that. They programmed, they do their thing, they had their altercations, but at the end of the day, they could care less about what the SNY gangs did. They stood out the way. And trust me when I tell you, if the blacks got involved with SNY gangs politics and there was some type of friction and confrontations and, a couple of little mini riots happening here and there, they weren't going years. It would happen like once or twice. We went at it with the blacks twice. Even the first round, got the blues the second round, and it was a dead issue after that. All over disrespect and all over drugs and all over drug debts. That's what it was about. Just matters of disrespect, people not paying people. Then it ended up that we went at peace with the blacks and we started removing our own that put us in this altercation in the first place. Hypocritical, slaughtering our own people before we were quick to slaughter a black. Other than that, Blacks stood out the way. Blacks don't really care about what Mexicans do to each other or what whites do to each other and what we're gangbanging over. Half the time, they just sit back on the sidelines and watch us just demolish each other and poke each other up and chase each other around on the yard. If you really go up to a black and be like, hey, did you hear what happened on the upper yard with the homies? Yeah, they went at it. Hey, do you know why? No. Really don't know, really don't care. They don't care about what goes on with this. It's us doing it to ourselves. We think we're impressionable. We think we're impressive by becoming these SNY gangs, becoming these STG gangs, what we represent, fighting each other. We're at war. We're going to war with other people. We're going to war with each other. We're stabbing each other. We're stabbing our own. To them, it's just, it's like a movie theater. It's just a show. We're just putting on a show for other people to watch. And we think we're cool because we're stabbing each other. Other people look at us like we're probably stupid. Because you won't see blacks on a level 4 stabbing each other. A fist fight here and there, a 1-on-1, a 2-on-2, maybe on 3-on-3 on some set tripping stuff, or small circles just going at it. Then they go back to normal program. You hardly ever see them exert violence because they don't politic like the rest of us. And it's us believing that our politics mean something and that they're worth something and that they're worth stabbing each other over. Like I said, we're just giving other people a show. And other people just sit back and watch us really hurt ourselves more. But yet we're the ones complaining about it, why we messed up our date, why we got to do another 7 years, why we didn't get to go home next year, why when the new laws came into effect, we're not going home. Why? Because we're just too busy stabbing each other to be tough guys on the yard, to make ourselves look like we're tougher than the next group. When at least it's all made up concepts and made up objectives and made up leaderships, just all in our head. And we do that to ourselves. So the blacks don't really care about what SNY gangs really do. If it's up, then it's up. If they really got problems with an SNY group, don't think for 1 minute they're going to go out the coward way and be like, nah, we don't want to fight these dudes because next thing you know, a whole yard full of Mexicans are going to jump us. Because if that happens, what's the worst that could happen? You get jumped for 30 seconds by 50 people. You're not really going to get hurt that bad. You might get a slice here and there. You might get a poke in there. You're going to survive it. You're more likely going to be the one transferred, and then these SNY gangs are going to sit there on the yard and go back to stabbing each other. So it doesn't affect their program. They can really care less about what Mexican gangs do on the SNY. That's just my honest mentality. But the homie Rose, he just minded his own business, and he was the prime example of what we all should have been doing on the SNY. Got his degrees. He's been preparing himself for 8 years to go home. While he had a wife, while he made love to his wife, while he did what he had to do on the yard just to get by. But he made sure he didn't get involved. That's what we all should have been doing. So I thought I'd bring that story to you guys' attention. I want to thank my subscriber for asking me that kind of question. So with that being said, like I always say, it's one life, one chance. We only got one chance to do this right. Let's get it done. Peace.